Hello guys, so I wanted to make a video about how I keep my PC clean and what software I use for maintaining it. So the first thing that I always install on every single computer I own when I get them, or when I do a fresh Windows install, is CCleaner. You have to have this program. It really does help with cleaning all the random junk that Windows has. So obviously if you want to use this, you can just use the analyze button. I'm going to click no because I had my web browser open, but as you can see, it's found various files, and then you just run it and just click OK. That's going to delete stuff. It will never delete anything serious, so don't worry about it deleting anything. And obviously it also has a registry cleaner which will scan your registry, and if you have issues you just hit that, and I don't even bother to back up because it will never do any damage. But in order to get it, you just want to go and type CCleaner into Google and just go to their official site here, which I will have a link to in the video description, or you can obviously just Google it, and then you're going to click download free version. And obviously I usually just download it from them, so you want to download it from the Puriform link, which will be there as well. So I keep this around because it helps clean all the random junk and stuff off of a computer, which obviously is very helpful for keeping it running fast. And as far as security goes, I always keep a copy of AVG Internet Security on my computer, and you want the full version obviously, so you will have to pay for this, and I will have a link to it below, but this is honestly the best one you can get as far as settings. So if you go into advanced settings here, you can change a lot, especially with it's got identity protection, email protection, which means if you try to download something that's in an email and the attachment is infected, AVG will pop up and say, hey, there's a virus, Trojan, malware, whatever it is in here, don't download this. And then you've got basic computer protection, which is just like in general, and then if you come down here you can enable self-protection, which means that AVG will protect itself. So if something tries to modify AVG, it will let you know and pitch a fit about it. So if you go into options here, you can click about viruses and threats, which will take you to AVG's website, and you can gain some top threats stuff and show you how much the risk level overall is currently, depending on like what the viruses are. So if you go in here, you can search the name of something and be like, well, I have this, blah blah blah, put it in, and it'll tell you what it is and basically how big of a threat it really is. Like as you can see over here, we have some of the top things. So like generic adware accounts for 17% of the detected items during the past 30 days and whatnot. So that's always a neat little feature. But you can you can also go in here and you can obviously update it, scan a selected folder. Like if you had a folder on your desktop or on a drive that you believe could be infected and you wanted to scan just that specific drive, you can go in here, pick a specific folder and tell it to scan just that folder, or you could do a specific file, which would be like a WinRAR archive, or your entire computer. Like you've got a couple different options in here, so you can obviously schedule your scans, or you can just scan the whole computer, or do what's an anti-rootkit scan, which will just scan the most often affected areas on a computer, essentially like, you know, the Windows directory, or just things like that, for things that are a little bit more stuck in there, because rootkits can be a little bit difficult to remove. So obviously if you go in here, you can tell it to scan applications and drivers as well. But I went in here, and it's usually on quick rootkit scan, but I always put it on full because you do not want to take a chance and let it miss something, because you can seriously have your computer get completely screwed over if that happens. So if you get it, I obviously don't have this, but if you install the web protection part of it, it will go into your browser and it just alerts you to a web page. It's like you go onto this page and it's like, oh, this page has trackers, or this page has malware built into it, because pages do have that. And identity here obviously means, like, if you have any privacy related stuff, it automatically protects that. Email, firewall, which basically protects Windows and just people from hacking their way into your computer and whatnot. But you've got data safe here, which basically if you put stuff in there, encrypt it, and put a password, it means that anybody who looks at that data can't get access to it without your password. And there's also, because I have the ultimate version of this, I have a tune-up app too. As you can see, AVG PC tune-up, which also comes with this, and it will maintain and like delete junk files. You can optimize processes that may be memory hogs. You can free up hard drive space that's basically taken up by junk. Same as CCleaner. This is a little bit more in depth, but I prefer CCleaner, but I always scan with both. And then this will alert you to just general problems with your computer, whether it be Windows or other issues. And in here you've got all functions, which you can just go in here. So you could be like, well, I want to check a disk for errors, I want to securely delete files or restore deleted files, or I want to go on here and turn on specific modes like economy, which is like a power saving mode if you were on like a laptop or something, defragment your registry, fix common Windows issues. You've also got this where you can put it on mobile computers and computing devices like tablets or phones and whatnot. And Rescue Center is like, essentially you could undo or do a system recovery if something got seriously screwed up. So I prefer AVG. I've used others in the past, but I always just keep coming back to AVG because it's simple, it works, and it's cost effective. It may not exactly have the highest overall detection ratio, which is why sometimes if I really do feel that you could get something, or I could get something serious and I want to protect myself, I will go and I will download Malwarebytes, and I will either pay for it or get it for free. But if you go to Malwarebytes website, malwarebytes.org, I'll have a link to this, you can download the free version of Malwarebytes anti-malware, and if there's something on your computer that is stuck harder than AVG can handle, or AVG skips something, Malwarebytes will find it. This is honestly the second best line of defense you can get. If you get something in your computer and you cannot even boot into your computer, or it locks your computer, Malwarebytes can have a chameleon version which you can load on USB, and it basically boots itself kind of like in a Linux environment, and it can scan and clean stuff off of your hard drives without even having to boot your computer, which is really a nice feature. And a lot of software does this, but none of them have as high of a detection ratio as Malwarebytes. They are honestly the best. If you wanted to buy Malwarebytes anti-malware, I'll obviously just load it real quick. So it would cost you $24.95 a year for I guess as many activations as you want, because it doesn't specifically say one PC. You could also lock in 2 years. Well, actually that was one PC, as it does say there. I didn't see that. But if you want to do 3 PCs for 2 years, $63, that's not that expensive. Honestly, it's not. And I highly recommend it. Sure, there's other softwares that Malwarebytes has as well. I guess it's just not going to load like that, so I'll just click here. So if you go back here, they've got their anti-malware, which basically removes infected stuff. Then there's the business version. Anti-exploit basically tries to patch up places where stuff could get into your system. Or endpoint, which is like their version of anti-malware, kind of like AVG. But personally, I just use the normal Malwarebytes anti-malware if AVG does manage to not find something. And the next bit of software I was talking about that I use is CCleaner. I use CCleaner to basically keep my registry clean alongside AVG, as well as just keep my system clean. So as you guys can see, I've obviously made a scan with this in my last video, which was right before this. So you just click Analyze and click No, because for now, because I had my browser open, I didn't want to have it close it. But you'll normally want to scan with your browser closed, and it will scan and find a bunch of junk files that Windows makes, as well as your browsers, and you can obviously scan your registry, and if it finds something, it'll appear here, and then you can fix it. So like old registry shortcuts, old crap that's been left behind by deleted programs, whatnot, that can take care of it. The next software I use, as far as Disk Defrag, I do this on a weekly basis because it really can impact system performance. So obviously I'm not scanning local disk C, and the reason that I won't scan local disk C is because local disk C is an SSD, and SSDs do not fragment like standard spinning drives like disk E or F, which are just standard. This is a 5400 drive, and then this is a 7200 RPM Seagate drive. So in order to use this software, you're obviously going to boot it up. It's going to look like this. You're going to click this, and you're going to want to go defrag and optimize. So when you select that, defrag and optimize means it does it all in one rather than just analyze it. So each one of these red squares represents a fragmented section of your hard drive. And basically fragmentation is this. As a hard drive, a spinning hard drive at least spins, when it's writing or moving data, it will just leave data behind wherever it is on the drive. It doesn't all put it in one location. It will just spin, and it will leave traces of the data all over the hard drive as it's spinning. And when you defrag, it's basically taking that misplaced information, moving it to one single location on your hard drive, and putting it all together, which means that it'll be faster, obviously, to load up whatever file or program you're looking for, because it will all be in one location. So it means your computer does not have to try as hard to find the file that it is looking for. So that is why you should optimize and defrag on a weekly basis. It will keep the junk at bay and keep your drives performing optimally. So the second thing that you can do with this that's cool is if you wanted to, you could click there and see specifically what was on a drive in what folder and yada yada. And Smart is a feature that's unique to Auslogics Disk Defrag that I really like. It will tell you the operating temperature that the drive is currently at, as well as the drive health and other statistics that you could get in other programs as well. But personally, I think that just adding this is a nice feature, because you can see like your spin up time, how many errors you have, if the drive's going to die. It's just nice. So other than that, you've also got SSD support, which you can mess with, which obviously you can optimize SSDs, but you do not need to, because they will never get fragmented. You can see registry and junk files. So when this is done, you will basically just have this be all green and blue. Blue means that it has been defragmented, that there was something there and there no longer is. Green means there's files there, but they're not fragmented. Red means they are fragmented. And orange or yellowy kind of orange color, because it's not really specifically fully orange, is showing that it is currently working on that block. And each one of these blocks in here represents a section on the drive. So these gray ones here means there's nothing in these. These are completely free. And green means there's something in them, obviously, as I said. And you'll get the fragmented percentage right here. So obviously I'm going to stop that because I already disk defragged that drive a while ago and it came out working fine. So that's how I defrag my hard drives. And another program that I like to have around, because it's a nifty tool and I do like checking up every once in a while, is CPU ID's hardware monitor. Now, hardware monitor will show you a varying amount of stats on your computer. So as you can see here, this is my motherboard. It shows how much voltage each specific area of the motherboard is getting. It also shows temperatures, like your system fan, how much how high the temperature of your motherboard is, what the speed of all fans currently is, what the minimum value of it is, and what the maximum value is. And you can also see the CPU voltage, like how much power your processor is using. So this is a little bit off down here, and the reason this number may be higher than usual is I have my processor overclocked. So as you can see here, you can see specific temperatures for each specific processor core, which here these are perfectly fine for basically idle temperatures. You don't want these to go above 80 degrees Celsius, but these are so far off it's fine. Then you can see specifically how much the whole entire CPU in general is using. You can see the clocks that your processor is currently running at, which is 4.4 gigahertz. You've also can see the utilization of it currently, each core, what its minimum value is, which is 0 obviously, and what its maximum value has been. And then you can also see specific statistics for your RAM, such as my RAM here, which is ADATA technology, which is 2133 megahertz stock, but I have it at 2666 megahertz, so it is overclocked. So the core temperatures of the RAM is 26 degrees Celsius, which is perfectly fine, and you can see it for each individual specific RAM stick that you have, and I have 2 sticks of this. And then obviously you can see here that this is my Seagate hard drive. So the assembly, which is the hard drive itself, and then this is how much like the airflow temperature is. They both matter. So you've also got your other hard drives here as well. Not the external one, obviously, but my Samsung SSD, my 850 EVO 250 gigabyte, which is my C drive. You can see the temperature, airflow one is 23 degrees Celsius with a max of 28 degrees Celsius, which is fine. You can also see the voltages that your GPU is using and the temperatures that it's running at and what the maximum temperature has been and what the minimum temperature value was. You could also see the speed of the fan on it, and then you can see specifically the clock that your graphics card's at, what its minimum value is and what its maximum value has been, and obviously the GPU utilization. So I like having this software around because it just allows me to keep a tab and make sure everything's running smoothly and running within voltage and temperature areas that I like to have them running at, and I just like to make sure that obviously nothing's overheating, nothing's broken, blah blah blah. And as far as web browsers, the one that I always do install on a computer, I'll tell you in a minute after I do something here. I want to go to Hardware Monitor, their website, and just show you. You can type in Hardware Monitor, and you're going to go to HW Monitor Software CPU ID, and when you get in here, I'll leave a link to this down below, you want to get the Setup plus English. You want to go with the Setup one, which will work on 32 and 64-bit computers, because if you go with the zip, you have to have WinRAR or something. So if you do not have WinRAR, then obviously just go with the Setup, and it's just an executable, and you can just install it like that. So yeah, that's basically how you get Hardware Monitor. And for web browsers, I'm always going to go and install Firefox. I like Firefox because it's smooth, it runs fast, and it doesn't install a lot of bloatware or particularly use a lot of system resources. So you'll just go to Mozilla.org, basically, as you can see up here, or just type Firefox and it'll be the first link. It's very simple to find it and install it. I do use Google Chrome on the side, but it depends. I usually only use Google Chrome if Firefox won't work with specific websites, which has happened in the past, but the majority, like 97% of websites, will work on Firefox. I've got some other softwares on here, as you guys can see. None of those are necessarily specific, but if I want to install like Media Player or something to play back videos, I always go for VLC Media Player because it's extremely powerful, and you can watch whole movies through it. It's got that. You can record a movie even if you were watching it, which I do not recommend doing because that would be illegal, and you could get in a lot of trouble with the FBI and other groups that protect stuff. So just don't do that because that's bad. So you can go here to videoland.org. I'll have a link for this, and then there's VLC Media Player. So you just want to download it and install it, and you'll basically be greeted with this when you open it, so you can open up a file that's on your computer or open up a disk and play back something. You can record it and see other information, but it's just extremely powerful, smooth, and I enjoy using it for all my media player usage, even though there still is Windows Media Player kind of thing built into Windows 10. I don't like it because it lags, and if your hard drive isn't fast, because it like basically raw reads it, you can get a bottleneck, and the performance of your video playback can suffer significantly. Another program obviously that I like to install when I get my computers is Skype, which is for basically video and voice chat. So if you just type Skype into Google Chrome or whatever, Firefox, just in Google, you'll find Skype, their main page here, and yada yada yada, and then you just want to click downloads, and when you're in downloads, you want to download it for whatever you have, your phone, your tablet. You can download it on your TV if it's a smart TV. You can get it on Xbox, not PlayStation 4, or your computer. And for computer, you can get it for Linux, Mac, and Windows, obviously. So just do this. Even though Windows 10 has it built in, I do not like to use their built-in one because it is kind of laggy and buggy, and it will be disabled if you disable a lot of your features for the privacy concerns. So you'll just get this and download it and end up with a executable like this that you can sign into it and use. And I basically just use Skype for that because it's basically the most widely used program of its type out there, and it just works. And you can also call somebody's cell phone through Skype too, which is kind of neat. So like if somebody was out and like they had their Skype closed, you could like click call and it will actually like physically call them, which is another neat feature. I've never used it because I've had no reason to use it. And yeah, so another program that I use for like checking up on my drives to basically see effectively how much space what is using is tree size free. So with tree size free, okay, I'll just close that. It'll scan your drive, and you can see what's using how much space and whatnot, and it'll just list it out. So like, for example, my Steam library on this drive is using like, I don't know, 200 gigabytes, I think. And you can see, oh hey, and then you can go in here and it just goes all the way down. You can see specifically which file is using up how much space, and you could even right click if you wanted to and delete specific files. So I just keep this around so that I always have tabs on what's using space, and if space mysteriously vanishes on my hard drive, then I can basically know what to point the finger towards. So if you type tree size free into Google, and I believe click this link. This should be the official one. Yes, it is. You'll end up on jamsoftware.com, which I'll have a link to down below. And in this software, as I showed you, you could basically just download it by clicking this button here and install it. And I believe it is Windows only. I have not checked if it's compatible with other operating systems, but I just keep it because it works. It tells you what's taking up space, and it's just an incredibly powerful tool to have around. As far as other software that I use for various things, I'll show you a couple more that aren't necessarily things that you have to have, but are kind of specific to your preferences. So something that I keep around that I use is Action, Mirillis Action, which is what I am currently recording, as you guys can see my desktop with for this, but I can also use it to record games or specific folders. It's incredibly powerful. You can also do live streaming with it if you have like a Twitch or other live streaming software account. You can just come in here and put in all your information. And then remote action is basically you can just control it with your phone or other things. It's kind of unique. I haven't played with it. You can just record audio in here. You have settings, so you could put MP4 or WAV for the format. You could pick your microphone, the duration. You've also got benchmarking, which will like basically come up with your system specs and FPS and whatnot. You can capture screenshots in games in various formats. BMP, JPEG, and PNG, and then if you come into here into general settings, you've got various things like check for updates. You can set the quality from low, normal to high. You've got your bit rate for MP4 that you can specifically change. You've got your input range for colors, multi-core recording, record your mouse cursor. You can overlay into the whatever corner of a video, like a logo. If you were on YouTube, you could put like your logo in the corner. You could put like a webcam in the corner if you have a webcam. You can capture resolution. You can set the webcam, the recording. You can have it do the aspect ratio. You've got your microphone settings. You can pick the specific device that you want to use. You can set how loud you want your voice to be as compared to like a game or something else. And you can pick the bit rate that you want to record in, various features like that. Come in here and say, hey, I want my HUD to be hidden during recording. I want the HUD to appear, various things like that. You've got export settings, which is like because Action has a feature where if you record an AVI, you can re-encode using Action into MPEG-4, and you can have it use NVIDIA NVENC, which is like taking your GPU and having your GPU do the compression and conversion to MP4 as opposed to your processor, because graphics cards are much faster at doing tasks like that as compared to your processor. And you could have it like upload it to YouTube or split it into sizes like 15 minutes, because YouTube, if you don't have your account fully verified, can limit you to 15 minutes. And then obviously you've got your hotkey buttons for like, I want it to record video, F9 and whatnot. And then obviously that's just the licensing thing, but that's basically Action. It's incredibly powerful. It does cost money. The free version, it has a watermark, so it kind of sucks. So you do, in fact, have to purchase this. I've been a huge fan of the software since it came out, and I've been using it basically since its release. The company that develops it is based in Germany, and I'm good friends with the guys that work the company. I've just been using it since day one. It's incredibly powerful, it's simple, and it just works. As compared to a lot of other softwares, they've got stupid amounts of features that are basically worthless, and they've got issues in this department or that department. They make other software as well, so if you go in here, you've got Action, you can click buy now. There's still a little bit of a Christmas offer going on, so I'm going to click in here and tell you the price. So as you can see, it's Mirillis.com. So if you just type in Mirillis Action, you'll find the website, but I'll leave a link as per usual. And if you got it for home use, it's $20, or commercial use. Commercial use is like if you're a big company and you're making videos that you want to monetize, like professional videos, then you want that version. But if you're just like a home user and you have a YouTube channel, you can get the home use one. It's perfectly fine to monetize videos on the home use license for YouTube. I've verified this multiple times with the people that make the software, and it's perfectly okay. So you could change your currency, so like if you wanted to purchase it with pounds or euros or US dollars, you can change it and buy it with PayPal and everything. So I highly recommend this for any form of video capture that you guys are going to do. It's an incredibly powerful software. It works, it's simple, and they update it frequently. Like if you go in here, you can view their version history right here, which is basically their update. So as you guys can see, this last update was a little while ago, but generally they update it frequently, and when they do, they've got big updates. So it supports Radeon, like their version. AMD application acceleration is basically the same thing as NVIDIA's NVENC, as I'll say, because it does the same thing. It's just the Radeon version, and it will work. So if you have a Radeon graphics card, you don't need to have a graphics card with CUDA cores to take advantage of that. There's also Intel QuickSync, which uses your integrated graphics processing unit on your processor to do the compression of the video, which helps because if you've got a dedicated GPU, it's not doing anything. So why not use it for something like compressing video on the fly? extremely nice for that. So I do enjoy the software and I use it on a daily basis, and I would heavily recommend that you guys have this. And another program that I wanted to point out that I use that's kind of specific to you, it's not something you have to have, but it is something that I can highly recommend, is Handbrake. Handbrake is a video transcoding software that can basically shrink files or reconvert them for specific presets for specific devices that you want the file to be viewed on. So I'm going to show you how to set this up. So you could select a source file, and I'm going to find a video file to convert, just to show off how that works. So, for example, if I wanted to take this video, for example, which is just some random video, and you load it into here. So, once you've selected your source, you obviously want to set your destination, and don't pick MKV, pick MP4 if you want smaller file size. So I'll just say 21 because I don't care what I save it for now, and then you click save. And after that, what you guys want to do, settings wise, at least what I do, and what I would heavily recommend, is obviously pick your ratio and your size, which this is 1920 by 1080, this monitor, which is like the most common ratio or resolution that anybody has a monitor on. So you want to pick that, and then into the filters one, you want to leave everything off. But when you come to video, you do not want this to be on any other settings. You want it to be on H.264 or X264. H.265 is a successor, which this allows you to compress files that are 4K and 8K, while this one only goes up to 4K. So this one does allow higher resolution compression, but it takes twice as long. It is a lot heavier on your processor than H.264 is. So this is what I would heavily recommend using, is H.264. And for frame rate, you want to make sure it's the same as what you put in there. Or if you wanted to, you could be like, well, I want it to be 30 FPS, 60 FPS, you could pick that. I always go with variable frame rate, because if you lock it at a constant frame rate, that can cause some issues, because if the frame drops, it'll lock it at that dropped frame rate, which is not as good as if it was varying and more consistent. And obviously you've got a quality bar, which you can set if you want it to be. Placebo quality will basically make it as close to the original as it was, so close that you won't be able to tell a difference. You put it down here on the low scale and it's going to look like crap. So I generally keep it between 17 and 20. Sometimes I'll go up as high as 24, but I would not go up any higher than that. And you just leave all the rest the same. And for audio, the codecs that I like to use is AAC and MP3. MP3 is great if you want to have smaller audio files, but the quality of AAC, which is technically the successor of MP3, will be slightly better at the same bit rates, but produce larger files. So MP3 for smaller files, AAC for slightly better audio quality. And for your bit rate, never go below 256. 192 is okay, but I just stick 256 or 320 because I want to preserve as much audio quality as I can. And as far as the mix down, I just leave it on Dolby Pro because a lot of things use that, and it just makes it more compatible with a lot of devices. So after all that's been done, if you don't want to add an extra subtitle or chapters or anything, then you can click the button that says start. It will say preparing to encode, and it will begin to encode, and this bar will just go and it'll just encode your file. So I'm going to stop this right now because that will slow down the recording and slow down my computer. And basically I just use Handbrake for transcoding videos. Another software that I wanted to point out that I do in fact use after I show you guys where to get Handbrake, I'll leave a link to it, is type Handbrake into here. It's handbrake.fr, and then this is the official website that you can get it on. You can download it here for Windows and click other platforms, and I know it says Ubuntu here, but it works on all forms of Linux. I've tested it, so that's good. You can get one that they build nightly. You can get it for 32 or 64-bit Windows. You can get it for Mac. It's on every platform, so that makes it just all the better. Matter of fact, if you go into like the App Store kind of thing on Macs, you can get this directly from that. I've seen it in there because I do have a laptop, a Mac laptop that I've tested that on. So Audacity is what I use sometimes if I want to record or do some stuff with audio, because sometimes Action, depending on the game, can come out kind of funky when I go to edit it. So I'll record things in Audacity and use this audio file because it allows for somewhat smoother and higher quality audio sometimes, depending on the video, mostly with Xbox stuff when I record that, because if I'm using like my capture card, my AverMedia Live Gamer Portable, you'll get some audio issues, so that's why I use Audacity. As I was saying before, a lot of people use Audacity on their computers as well because the quality of audio is generally considered superior to a lot of recording softwares, but what you guys are hearing right now is currently being recorded within Action, which is perfectly fine. Action is a very solid software and there's no issues with the audio. It's just sometimes Audacity can be superior. And I wanted to point out the last software that I use on a regular basis that I have to install that basically a lot of people would want to know is, what do I edit everything with? And I have Cyberlink PowerDirector 14. And the reason I picked this is it's inexpensive compared to a lot of other softwares. It has all the features that you would ever need to edit something. And obviously it's got a screen recorder just like Action does, but I use Actions just because I prefer Action and I know how to use it more so. So you've got an Express project and Easy Editor, which is like a scaled down one. You can pick your aspect ratio, obviously 16:9, because that's like what 99% of monitors and whatnot are at. So I'm going to click Full Feature Editor. It loads into here. You've got all your features. You can import and edit audio. It's got a built-in audio editor, wave editor, so you can like raise the volume of something, shrink the volume of something down. You can add transitions. It's got a billion different transitions, you know, like general fades and whatnot, and everything that you guys would ever need. So it's extremely powerful. If you get it on sale, you can spend like 20 to 50 bucks for the software. Full price, I think it's like 70 or 80, 90, but still that's way better. Sony Vegas is 400 bucks. If you went and got something like all the Apple stuff, I forget what they're called, like you can spend a crap load of money, like $1,000 on that. There's other things that exist alongside this, like there's Corel, there's Adobe Premiere, which is like 250 bucks for a yearly license. It's incredibly expensive, and they do basically the same thing. So I just use the software. It works, it's inexpensive, has all the features, and it's just great. And obviously, if you guys wanted to get this, you can go and purchase this. There is a trial available if you wanted to try the software out before purchasing it. So if you type Cyberlink in, I'll have obviously a link to this below, and go to their official site and load it up. They also offer other programs like a photo editor that's basically their version of Photoshop, which is also incredibly good, but I don't do a lot of photo editing, so I do not in fact own their photo editing software, but I have tried the trial out just to see if it would compare to something like GIMP if I had to do some stuff in as far as that goes. So they've got PowerDirector, which is their editing, Photo Director, which is their photo software, Power DVDs, like if you like to burn DVDs to give to family or whatnot, and as you can see, PowerDirector 14. There's different versions of it, so we'll take a look. So the one that I have, I believe, is the Deluxe, which is $70, but I got it for $20 on sale, which is an insane deal. The difference between Deluxe and Ultra is that there's basically 3D stuff in Ultra while there's not in Deluxe, and that's like legitimately the only difference. And this is the same price right now, but it's normally $229, which still compared to Sony Vegas is insane. And then there's the Ultimate, which is basically the next step up, which is $350 normally, but it's $80 roughly right now, $75. But this offers a few more features yet again. And then there's the Ultimate Suite, which is like, it contains a few more added in packs for like different templates and stuff that are added that aren't generally in the basic one. But if you have a Director Zone account, you can download a lot of community made templates and things for it. So it's just incredibly powerful for the price, and I love it. It was first recommended to me actually by a friend of mine who makes MRE videos. You may want to check out his channel, Kiwi Dude MRE. If you type that in, you'll find it in Google. I'll show you guys right now. And I wanted to give a shout out to his channel because he does need the support as well. Kiwi Dude MRE, Kiwi Dude YouTube. That would be him. Yep, this is his channel, and then you can go to his videos. So he makes videos with his daughter on MREs from different countries, US MREs, rations from Great Britain, rations from all over the world, and his videos are excellent, and I do highly recommend checking out his channel if you guys wanted to watch some MRE or ration videos, or just have a good time in general, because a lot of times some crazy stuff does ensue. So anyways, thank you for watching, and please give this video a like, and if you have any questions, please leave them down below, because I would be more than happy to answer any questions that you guys have.